Hey everyone, my name's Sam and I want to welcome you to my beginner guitar video where we're going to try and understand C major. It's a common misconception that you need to understand 12 different keys and how they all work, and that's the only kind of key to fully understanding music and writing music and understanding how people write songs. I've found that the best way to get to the point where you understand all 12 keys is to start by just looking at the C major key. If you can fully understand C major, how all the chords work, how scales work with those chords, you can use that fundamental understanding and apply it to all 12 keys so that you understand music in a broader sense. So in this quick course, we're just going to look at C major, all the chords in C major and how they work and how we can use those chords to make our own songs with a few simple strumming patterns, and then also apply a simple scale to that as well to start coming up with our own melodies. Alright, now the first step to coming up with our own chord progressions or learning other people's songs by ear is to understand where chords come from. Now, every single chord progression you've ever heard comes from a scale. The most basic and the most prevalent scale that we use to come up with chords, especially for pop music and rock music, is the major scale. Now, in C major, we have 7 notes. We've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. And for each one of those notes, we're going to have a chord. So don't worry too much about where these chords come from at first. Just try and learn the formula of major and minor chords through the scale. So for example, on the first note of the C major scale, C, we have a C major chord. So chord 1, major. The second note, D, we have a D minor chord. The third note, E, we have an E minor chord. The fourth note, F, we have an F major chord. The fifth note, G, we have a G major chord. The sixth note, A, we have an A minor chord. And then the last note, B, we have a B diminished chord. But we're not gonna worry too much about playing a B diminished, mostly because it's very rarely ever played in pop music, even rock music. So we're gonna go with the most common chord that gets played off a B in the key of C, which is a G/B chord, which means you're playing a G chord, but you've got a B in the bass. So here are those 7 chords: C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A, G on B, back to C. Now, pretty much every single pop song, you can use those 7 chords to figure out what they're playing. The majority of songs that you hear on the radio, or pop songs and rock songs, will use some combination of those 7 chords. The only thing that you'll want to be able to do to be able to play these songs in different keys at first is to use a capo to change the key of the song. This comes in handy if you're just playing acoustic guitar and singing, because you might want to change the key of a song to suit your voice, or if you're playing along with a song or a recording of a song, the capo will help you find the right key of the song to then play those 7 chords. Once you've learnt those 7 chords, the world is your oyster. You can play 9% of songs out there. You just got to master those 7 chords and master a few strumming patterns. I'm going to quickly go through the exact fingering for each one of those chords. First chord, chord C. We're going to start first finger on the B string, 1st fret, second finger on the D string, 2nd fret, and then 3rd finger on the A string, 3rd fret. Okay, we want to strum this one from the 5th string down, and that is a C major chord. Next chord, D minor. We're going to go 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 1st string, the E string, third finger on the third fret of the B string, the second string, second finger on the second fret of the G string, strumming from the fourth string down or the D string down. D minor. Chord 3, we've got E minor, which is going to be first finger, second fret of the fifth string, the A string, second finger, second fret of the fourth string, the D string, strumming all 6 strings. Okay, chord 4, F, gonna go first finger on the B string, first fret, second finger on the G string, second fret, third finger on the D string, third fret. And we're gonna strum just 3 strings, the D string down to the B. Now if you can, you want to try and flatten your first finger from the B string to the E string to get the full F chord. Quite often though, that's hard at first, and what you'll hear in a lot of pop music is people will play an F major 7 chord, which is actually same fingering you've got for your F chord, but instead of trying to bar across the first fret down on the B and the E string, you just point it at the B string, the second string, and let your top string go open. Okay, you'll hear that a lot in chord progressions, rather than the barred version, which sounds like. So if you're struggling with the bar, don't let it worry you too much. You've always got that option of playing F major 7 instead of the full F major with the bar down. Up to chord 5, we've got G. We're going to go the really contemporary version of G, which is second finger on the third fret of the E string, sixth string, first finger on the fifth string, second fret, and then we got third finger on the third fret of the B string, pinky on the third fret of the E string, strumming all strings. 2 chords to go. A minor, which is chord 6. We're going to go first finger, second string, first fret, second finger, fourth string, second fret, and then slotting underneath that, you're going to put your third finger on the second fret of the G string, and we strum from the A string down, the fifth string down. That gives us an A minor chord. Last chord we're going to do is the G/B chord. Most common way you'll see it is second finger on the fifth string, pinky or third. I go pinky on the B string, third fret, and you actually just want to hear those middle 4 strings, so fifth string to B. Easiest way to do it is to just allow your pinky to mute your E string. And you'll often hear that between A minor and C, because you get that stepping up, A, B, C. It's very rare that you'll hear A, B diminished, C. But it does happen. If you do want to try out that B diminished chord, it's a bit of a stretch. You're going to go pinky on the 7th fret, second finger on the 5th fret, first finger on the 3rd fret, and that's your B diminished triad. They're your 7 chords. With those 7 chords, you can play millions, if not billions, of songs. Okay, all you need to kind of practice with it is moving between them, trying different combinations. On page 5 of the PDF document that comes with this course, I've just put a handful of songs you can try out, moving the capo into different positions and strumming through those chords to see how you'd be able to sing some of them. Alright, on to the second part of this video where we're looking at strumming patterns. One thing with strumming patterns is quite often if you're playing solo, it doesn't matter too much what you play. You could just hold chords and you'd be able to sing over the top of them. But with these particular 3 strumming patterns, you're going to be able to play a massive amount of songs. They're 3 of the most common things. The other really important thing with these strumming patterns is I'm going to teach you a technique that you can learn and then apply to every single strumming pattern you ever play. And once you learn these 3 strumming patterns, you use the right technique, you'll be able to do whatever you want with those strumming patterns. Okay, first thing is the pendulum arm technique. So what I want you to try and make sure you're doing whenever you're playing a strumming pattern is your right arm should be swinging. Always, no matter what the strumming pattern is. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. Even if it's funk, I'm doing the same thing, but it's a lot quicker. So that constant swing's gonna happen compared to something a bit more folky. Still swinging. And that's when you notice, if you watch a lot of videos on YouTube of people playing, and you watch their right arm, they're going to be doing that. That's going to be the framework. The better you get with it, you can start to mess it up with some double downs or double ups, if that's the kind of sound you want, but generally speaking, 99% of the time, we're swinging. Now, with knowing that, we're going to go through 3 really simple and common strumming patterns. The first one is the 4 downstroke to each bar with an up on the end. So in between that 4th beat and the 1st beat of the 2nd bar, we're going to squeeze in an upstroke. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So using some of the chords in C, we're going to go chord 6, which is A minor. We're going to go to G, which is chord 5. Then we're going to go to C, which is chord 1. So using that strumming pattern, we'll have A, G, C. And again, A, G, C. Really simple. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Cool. On to pattern 2, the most common strumming pattern that you'll ever do, a little bit more advanced, is the down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. And again, you want to make sure, even though we're now doing something a bit more syncopated, meaning a bit more offbeat, we're going to still be swinging as if our arm's just a pendulum. So down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. Let's pick a few chords from our key again. Let's go chord 5, chord 2, chord 4, which will be G, D minor, F, and I'm going to use that F major 7 chord, and I'm going to put that strumming pattern in. We'd have G, chord 2, D minor, chord 4, F. And again, chord 5, 2, F, chord 4. Now with these strumming patterns, you can experiment with them, slow them down, speed them up. And you can start to incorporate some of the theory from your 7 chords to come up with your own progressions. Chord 6, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 1. Okay, last strumming pattern here. Another super common one, but a bit harder than the last, is pattern 3, which is going to be 2 downstrokes, and then we're going to have this big rest. Now the hard part here is, though, even though we have a big rest, we don't want to stop our pendulum arm. So for example, on an A minor chord, chord 6, we would have down, down, rest, up, down, down, down. Now even though there's that big rest, I'm still penduluming. Is that a word? I'm still using that pendulum technique to feel that rest, down, down, rest, up, down, 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 feel it, up, down, 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 rest, up. Now you don't have to overdo it with a big fake strum, but you want to still feel that. And again, you can slow it down, but you want the same technique in your right hand. Okay, let's put some chords with it. Let's go chord 3, 4, 5, 6. So E minor, F, G, A minor, E minor. Okay, and that's basically it. What you can start to do if you're feeling like you're really comfortable there and you're getting your chord changes happening, you can start to mix up that strumming pattern, do what you want with it, but as long as you've got that pendulum arm. Okay, last section here, we're going to look at one simple scale. Now, there are so many scales we can learn on the guitar, but there's one that just pops up everywhere in jazz, in pop music, in rock music, and it is the most used scale, and you'll pretty much see it used as the starting point for every single guitar solo that's out there, even for big melody lines, for hooks, for songs. Quite often it's the framework for 95% of melodies, and then occasionally you'll see people using little bits of other scales in there to add some tension and release. But if we can master this one scale, you're going to be able to write some awesome songs with it, come up with your own melodies, start to improvise using it, and it fits exactly along with our chords in C major. We're going to be playing the minor pentatonic scale, and the reason we're playing the minor pentatonic scale is because it's the most used one. I would teach you the major pentatonic because it seems like it works better with major, with the key of C major, but the minor's pentatonic is just used way more, especially on guitar. So we're going to learn that and how we fit it in with our chords in the key of C. Basic rule of thumb here is whenever you're playing a minor scale, you just find whatever chord 6 is. So an example here is that chord 6 in the key of C is A minor. All we need to do is find the note A on our 6th string of the guitar, and that is E, F, G, A, which is the 5th fret. We're going to play a scale that is 2 notes per string, all the way up the guitar and back down, and it starts 1st finger, 5th fret, then we're going to go pinky finger, 8th fret on the same string, move to the 5th string, we're going to go 1st finger on the 5th fret, 3rd finger on the 7th fret, down to the D string or the 4th string, 1st finger 5th, 3rd finger 7th, down to the G string, 1st finger 5th, 3rd finger 7th, down to the B string, 1st finger 5th, pinky finger 8th, and then same on the E string, 1st finger 5th, pinky finger 8th, and then back down. Cool. Now, it might get a little bit boring just playing through that scale, although it's good practice. What you can start to do is you can record some chords using your key of C and start playing notes from that A minor scale over the top. It's really fun to start improvising, coming up with your own melodies like that. It's also a really good starting point to come up with a vocal melody if you're not sure where to start. You've written a chord progression that you like, say it's chord 6, 4, and 1. You don't know where you want to start your melody, you might just pick a note in the scale. This note here, which is the 5th note of the minor pentatonic scale, and my chords are chords 6, 4, and 1. I can find that note, la la, start singing it, and come up with a melody as that, as my starting point. Pretty simple melody, but I've found the note in the scale that I wanted to start my melody on, and then use that as a starting point to improvise a melody. And you could do that with any note in that scale. Other thing is, if you've got another guitarist that's playing chords in the key of C, you can start to use it to solo. From there, there's way more you can do with that scale, but that's going to be your starting point. When you get better with your techniques, slides, bends, you're going to be able to add more character to that scale and come up with some cooler lines. Alright, that will do us for the beginner course on understanding C major. Just a few things I want you to try and do. Just go out there and experiment with those 7 chords and experiment with those scales. The other thing you can start to do is listen to some of your favorite songs and see if you can move your capo into the right position, and then figure out what chord progressions they're using from those 7 chords. Occasionally you're going to run into spots where people are using chords that don't fit with that system, and that's totally fine. We'll get into how that works in another video, but for the moment, stick with these 7 chords, stick with that minor pentatonic scale, start mucking around with those strumming patterns and see what you can come up with. From there, there's a world of other theory we can go into to start learning some other chords and shapes and stuff, but this is the framework for really understanding how songs are written and how you can start to write your own songs. And also, if you start seeing chords pop up that don't fit in these chord progressions, or you come up with your own chords, embrace it. You don't have to use this system. The whole point of learning the rules in music is to eventually break them. So start by learning the rules, muck around with it, and then see if you can come up with your own stuff and be original. Alright, cheers, thanks everyone.